Hello from Guitar Whisperer headquarters. Two exciting things at least happened in the last week. One was that I got a new £10 microphone from Amazon to try and make the audio on these videos a bit better. The highest tech available. And secondly, well, people are always saying to me, Rob, your house is too small for the amount of guitars that you've got. You should stop buying guitars, you've got so many. And I ignore that advice because you don't need that kind of negativity in your life, really. So on Sunday, I was popping out to the shops and I went past the charity shop round the corner. And I saw that they were selling an Aria Dreadnought for £25. Not a massive investment. As you know, I've got another Aria and I like Asian stuff from the 80s and 90s. So I did a bit of digging into this one and it turns out it's a solid spruce top. Laminated back and sides as far as I know. Really quite nicely made. There's some mother of pearl going on around the sound hole. A bit of which is missing. Rosewood fingerboard. Generally a nice, not high end obviously, but a nice dreadnought. It's not a tank, medium weight sort of build to it, and even with these disgusting dead strings it sounds quite good. Will need a bit of work though. As you can see, it's disgustingly dirty. A few scratches here and there, but not too bad. The strings are horrific. The nut's too high. And the dirt on the fingerboard is possibly the worst I've ever seen. There's a thick layer of DNA on there. And some of it's gone a sort of delightful green colour. So that's obviously going to have to come off. I'll probably wear a mask while I'm doing that. God knows what's in it. But generally, a nice guitar. And as always with these things, once you get all the grot off, they often play rather nicely. So we're going to dig into it. See if I catch any kind of appalling diseases. And let's see if we can make it play nicer. Okay, we're going in. I've already slackened off the strings. I'll get these out first. There is an attractive green tinge to the wound strings as well. You do wonder sometimes, do people not notice the dirt? Or do they just don't care? But yeah, this one is really disgusting. I've just noticed a sort of bit of cobwebbing going on inside the sound hole too. There's a bit of kind of gouging going on around the bridge pins. I'm not sure what tool they used to get them out. May not have been Luthier approved. This, by the way, is a dedicated bridge pin remover which works most of the time. You do come across ones that won't get out every now and then, but on the whole it's pretty good. One of these pins is a bit more stubborn than the others, so let's see if we can. There we go. So that's those up. We'll probably drag the saddle out at some point. It's a compensated one, which is nice. But we'll pull the saddle and give this a bit of a sanding and polishing and oiling and stuff and make it look a bit nicer. I'm going to be wearing this, I think, while I scrape the fingerboard. see if I can get a better shot for you. I don't know if we can make it out on there. It's bad. So I think this is probably beyond the scope of just a quick wipe with a paper towel. So I'm going to do the first pass on this with a single-sided razor blade. And this is a pretty old one that's been used for scraping before, by the looks of it. These are great. Obviously you've got to be a bit careful with them because they're razor blades. And the light touch always helps. But for getting this kind of thick stuff off, they work really well. So let's give that a go. I'm going in. There we go. First pass with the razor blade done. And look at that stuff. No words needed, I don't think. I'll brush it down now. I was wearing the respirator all the time I was doing this because God knows what's in it. I'll brush it down. And then we'll start going over with the Secret Guitar Whisperer cleaning solution and paper towels. And get some more crap off of it. There's some splashes of paint on here. Some of it appears to be white, some of it appears to be pink. Maybe it was stored in the kids' play area or something, I don't know. It's coming off fairly easily though, most of it. There we go. Just with a thumbnail scrape and a bit of a wipe. Like I said, a few dents there and a few scratches. It doesn't bother me. That sort of level of aging I can cope with. The poisonous gums, not so much. There is like a thick, tight mark of it here as well, on the back of the bridge. Maybe where somebody was resting their thumb or something. Not their thumb, the heel of their hand. Yeah, that's... Ugh. That's from doing the first 4 frets, and that's after I scraped it. So this is just the stuff that was left. There is, rather lively, some fairly bright green stuff actually around the bases of the frets. I might have to get in there and scrape that out. There'll be a few more passes, I think, on this finger ball because this is the worst bit of it. It really is gross. We'll measure the frets in a sec with a rocker as well to see what sort of condition they're in. Fret rocker, let's see what they're like. Fret rockers are such a simple and useful tool. Everybody should have one. If you've got any interest in guitar maintenance, put one of the straight edges over 3 of the frets, and all the edges are different lengths, so it works as you go up the neck. And see if it makes a noise, like that. If it makes a noise, the one in the middle is higher than the 2 on the outside. So I've found a few already, 4 or 5 I think, and I'm only up to the octave. At this point I could probably stop measuring them and just accept that the frets need doing. I'll keep going up anyway. You can also measure across the frets, again, which I would do if I didn't already know that the frets were shed. So I've heard lots of clicking in lots of places, so these frets could do with levelling and recroning. I might leave the green stuff for now and then give the whole lot another really thorough clean and polishing once I've done the fretwork. But yeah, these frets need doing. There's a little bit of wear, not an awful lot, in the open chord positions, mostly up to about fret 4, but it's not a huge amount of wear. The nut looks like it's made of that powdery plastic stuff, which you sometimes get even on nice guitars. I'll keep that in for now. The slots on it were miles off. They were really high, so they'll need filing out anyway. But we'll keep that on for now. I don't really want to invest any money, really, if I have to, on a £25 guitar. But if it turns out to be amazing, then maybe I will. The last bit of the model number on this thing is RS. It's an AW20 RS. The RS stands for red shade, apparently. So it's got a red tint over the whole thing. The grain in the mahogany on the back looks rather nice, actually. Probably can't see it from that camera angle. Again, ooh, all sorts of stuff. This is, again, like I keep saying, just the first pass with the cleaning. We'll go over it again later, but it's nice to get an idea of what things are going to turn out like and how much more work they'll need. Just checking the truss rod to make sure it turns, which is probably something I should have done before I started cleaning it. Because if you can't adjust the truss rod, you're never going to be able to get it set up properly. But it does, it turns fine. It creaked nicely on the first movement, which is probably a sign that it hasn't been turned for a long time, if ever. So we're using the notched straight edge to get the fingerboard flat before I start doing any work on the frets. At the moment it's got a bit of a back bow, so we'll take some tension out of the truss rod. In fact, we'll take all the tension out of the truss rod and then go from there. Okay, let's measure this again then. Yeah, that's good. That's nice and flat. Now that I've cleaned it, it all looks really rather dry. Again, this is something we'll probably address once we've done the fretwork. But first things first, let's get the fingerboard taped up. Okay, all taped off and some of the body taped off too. If this was a posh finish, I wouldn't tape the body like this because it's easy to pull off bits of finish with things like nitro or rubbed-on finishes and that sort of thing. But this is tough as old boots poly and it ain't going nowhere. Right, next up, my favourite bit, colouring in. I don't know what's happening outside, it sounds like there's a chainsaw fight going on or something. If there is a chainsaw fight going on, I should probably go and have a look and see if I can help. These threads are actually nicely done. The ends are not like bullet ends, but they have been dressed nicely and rounded over. Pretty common to see super sharp fret ends on cheaper guitars, like the really cheap ones, which feel horrible to play. You can feel them on your hand. Well, these ones, not perfect, they're pretty good. Let's grind some metal. So after that first pass, you can see where the blue pen still remains. And those are the bits that are low. And there's quite a lot of bits that are low, if I'm honest. There's a few bits here where there's some string wear, and as you get further up the neck, the frets get more uneven. So I'll keep going nice and gently until there's no blue pen left. We're not far off. The top 4 frets are still a bit low. I mean, who's going to play up here? Especially on a guitar with no cutaway. So I'll take a little bit more off. Nothing wrong with taking a bit more off, but it means there's less fret left for future fret leveling. There's a little bit here. I could do some taking off as well. Okay, they're all level now, apart from that one and that one. I'm going to dress a bit of a fall away into it, which means you take a little bit extra off the frets at the top here. I guess on an acoustic, probably from the 12th fret onwards. So it falls away as you go up the neck, and it helps the majority of the neck to play better whilst sacrificing a little bit of action stuff in the very high frets. But you don't play up here, not on an acoustic. Well, not when you've got my level of talent. So the 12th fret is going to be the last one without the fall away, so it's from the 13th fret on. It's only taking off a tiny bit more, basically 2 thicknesses of counter stuff. Not even that, to be honest. that will probably do, I think. These four here are now levelled with each other and lower than the rest. Right, next step, recrowning. But I think I'm going to go and have some lunch first, so I'll have to wait for a bit. Okay, back after a quick noodle break. Rather annoyingly, it seems like the cheap wireless microphone doesn't work with my phone, but it does work with my Hosh camera. And there may be a lesson for us there, that using the cheapest phone available and a £10 mic is not a reliable tech solution. Anyway, we'll have a look at that later. Quite possibly operator error. Right, crowning time. Right, the crowning is done. Next step, polishing. Working up through the grits and then finishing it off with some autosol and the Dremel. Here's a top tip for you. I keep all my sandpaper, because there's lots of different grades, in one of these flippy file boxes, which is what I'm going to call them. Makes the whole thing incredibly more organised. I am not by nature an organised person, so little tricks like this make a great difference to my life, and they could to yours too. Okay, I sanded to 1500. Could have gone higher. I've got the sandpaper there, but don't forget this is a charity shop guitar that this morning was covered in green gunge. So sanded to 1500, Dremel with some autosol. Wiped it all down again, took the tape off, did another pass with the magic cleaning spray, and got some more gunge out from where the frets go into the fingerboard, because there was some of that left. And now I'm doing the lemon oil thing. But it makes it look nice for a bit. There are better conditioners for fingerboards. Monty's do a nice one. That should make it look nice and vintage. All lemon oil is really it's just mineral oil. You could use baby oil if you wanted. It would have the same effect. It does make me smile when you see guitars for sale, and when they're describing the condition, they proudly announce that they lemon oiled the fingerboard, as if it's the same as a 5-star service, but I suppose it's better than nothing, isn't it? Yeah, that looks nicer, doesn't it? Will also play much nicer. And I haven't contracted any horrible diseases yet. Okay, I think we're on the finishing lap. So we're going to string it up and then do the nut slots and check the action and the truss rod, and then we should be good to go really. I don't know if it's my imagination, but it seemed to be when I was a young man, everybody was playing something like 14s on acoustics. Maybe I've imagined that. But everybody now seems to be playing 11s, which is the gauge you use on electrics. How times have changed. Okay, strings are on and tuned to pitch. So, one of the things that was making this guitar not feel very nice to play, especially down the bottom end of the neck near the nut, was the fact that the nut slots are too shallow. So the first fret action is too high. So we need to get the nut fails out. So I did have to take a bit of a break earlier because I couldn't find the nut fails. I'd carefully hidden them from myself somewhere. And so that was annoying. And then my friend Dave came round and distracted me, and then we laughed about what forgetful pair of old geezers we are. But I found them now. Thank God, because there's like 200 quid's worth in here. So yeah, let's get these down to a reasonable height. So that's one done. I'm using a set of Hosco gauged nut files, by the way. It's one of those jobs that you really do have to invest in the proper tools. I've seen people recommending that you use welding nozzle cleaners and stuff like that, and various other hacks, but they don't really work. A little bit stiff, those machine heads, but I'll go with that for now. So these are much lower now. Especially on the bass side, I had to deepen them by quite a lot. I don't know what's going on under that note. It looks like there's a bit of glue sticking out the side, so I don't know what's happened there. I should probably at some point top dress it. In other words, file off the excess material off the top and do some nice radiusing on the corners and stuff. But it's not. It's this weird powdery stuff. I don't know if there's a technical name for it, but I've seen it on various other guitars. It's functional and it's not particularly nice. So, I'll check the relief again. That's a bit high. Remembering that we adjusted all that to get the fretboard level so we could level the frets. So let's give that a bit of attention. I think it's going to need possibly to go the other way of centre. Right, that's biting now. Because the frets are nice and level now, we can get away with a fairly small amount of relief. bit buzzy, tiny bit buzzy, so we'll just give it a little bit more. Give it an eighth of a turn there. That should be better. That's better. Nobody's going to play up here, but we'll test it anyway. Let's just quickly measure the action to see what the number is, and I wrote that down somewhere. I like to take notes a lot of the time, so when you revisit something later on, you can go, or ooh, something like that. Right, let me find the string gauge a sec. Found it. It was under the bag with the nut files in that I couldn't find earlier. So, action at the 12th, we're looking at now, it's about 70. So, I'd say for an acoustic, that's okay. It's a bit high, it's higher on the treble side, which is not the way things should be. So, it's about 90 to 100 on the treble side, so at some point we need to do like an angled sanding across the bottom of the saddle. But I'm going to do that in a bit because it's nearly dinner time and I'm quite happy with the way it plays. At the moment it could be a bit better, but compared to the health hazard that it was this morning, I'm really rather pleased with that. 25 quid plus the price of a set of strings, and it's pretty nice. We'll pick it up in a different video when I actually get around to doing the saddle. Cheers guys.